What are all the roots to this equation? What do you do first? Before you solve anything, what is the first thing you do? Yeah? Yeah, make sure it equals 0. So x to the 4th plus 2x cubed minus 13x squared plus 10x equals 0. All right, now we're going to start factoring. The first rule of factoring is the first step, which is what? Yes, greatest common factor always has to come out first. So take x out. X cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10 equals 0. All right, now we try to set each part equal to 0. So x equals 0 and x cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10 equals to 0. Okay, x equals 0, that's good. This one on the right, can I factor it? No, this one, there's no trick to factor it, so what can you do? P over Q. Yeah, you have to do P over Q. All right, what are my possibilities for P over Q? 1, 2, 10, 5. That's it. Okay, I will always start from the smallest number just so if I get lucky, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't want to start with 10. Sometimes it's just an unlucky number to go, do the big ones. So start with like 1 or -1 and see if you get lucky and you don't have to do this anymore. Okay, so go ahead and do that for 30 seconds. And we'll come back. All right, what's roots that works? 1? 2, someone check 2. Okay, so you can use any of those to start. So use synthetic division, divide it out, and then try to factor if you can. Yeah.
So 1 works?
1 works. 1 works.
And 2 works?
And 2 works.
Either one?
You can use either one to start. Oh, yeah, you can use both. So basically, once you divide it out with 1, you can divide again with 2. Let me show you this. It's a good exercise. So you can start with 1. 1, 2, negative 13, 10. 1, so 1, 1, 1. 3, 3, negative 10, negative 10, 0. All right, once you get to this place, since someone else also said 2 works, here's what you do. You don't go back to the beginning and divide out a 2. You just start from here. And then you don't have to, because if you go back to the beginning, it's like, okay, well, that works, but I still had to go back to a quadratic. So you just start with where you left off and then continue. So 1, 2, 5, 10, 0.
So you have to be the smallest number first.
No, you can start with 2 if you want. Yeah, it will still work. So x equals negative 5. That means we have x equals 0 from the beginning, x equals 1, x equals 2, x equals negative 5. How many roots are we supposed to get from the question? 4. Did we get 4?
Yes.
Yes. So we're done. 0 does count as 1.
Where did you get that from?
Where did it come from? From the greatest common factor. You factored out at the beginning. Okay, now there are, There are times where doing a P over Q is not the fastest way. That's when you use decimals. So graph it on decimals, check what's actually on the x-axis, and then start with those, because sometimes it just takes too long to find the first one. All right, so this is where we stopped yesterday, and we are going to do this. Okay, so we're on page 19. Okay, we're going to do another example. So this question says, what are all the zeros of the equation? Okay, and then they give us this really long polynomial, just like 24. So the first clue says graph the function to check where the real zeros are. So you're going to graph it on decimals and check what crosses the x-axis. That's what you're going to start with. So go ahead and graph on decimals. You can always use P over Q. It's just going to take a lot longer to guess. So once you graph and you know what the 2 or 3 zeros or however many they are, can you tell us? And then so we can just start there. Yes?
3 and negative
3 and negative 3. Good. Okay, so kind of like 24, pretty much exactly like 24. So we are going to start with one of them and use synthetic division to divide it out. Oh, okay. 3, so start with 3. It really doesn't matter which one you start, you'll end up at the same place. So use synthetic division. 1, 1, minus 7, minus 9, minus 18. 1, 3, 4, 12, 5, 15, 6, 18, 0. Okay, so I use synthetic division and then I divided out 3. Now the graph tells us that negative 3 is also in there. Again, don't go back to the beginning because then you didn't really take out zeros. You just kind of went backwards. So you want to start where you left off and then take out minus 3. Okay, when you draw the line, please be careful. Your remainder line should be one more in from the previous one because you stop at 6 now, not 0. All right, do the synthetic division again. Okay, once you do, so some of you already finished synthetic division. You have to find the rest of the zeros, and since it's a second degree, you can use quadratic formula. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So use quadratic formula. All right, you should get to this point, 1, 1, 2. So that means x squared plus x plus 2 equals 0. So then from there, just use quadratic formula to find the rest. The answers are x equals plus minus 3 and negative 1 plus or minus square root 7i over 2. So that's our 4 roots. All right, let's try another one. All right, this one, again, it is not factorable, so we have to use decimals to help us get started. Go ahead and try that one. Once you have all 4 roots, let me know.